Welcome in, Darkmon. Welcome in. We're gonna do some unboxing and installing new turntables today. The reason we have new turntables, we have to replace the existing ones. They're not working properly, so we want to replace them with some new ones. We're gonna unbox these things, install them, and do a sound check. In the meantime, I'm gonna have some music playing just to fill the space. Give me a second. Thanks for joining. Tap the screen and welcome in. Welcome YouTube, welcome TikTok. We're gonna do an unbox and install for new turntables. We are replacing existing ones with some new ones. All right, we're gonna get some music playing here. Something low in the background just so we can have some sounds while we're working on our install. All right, we're gonna leave that sound right there. I'm gonna talk over this music. down just a little bit more. All right, we are installing Audio Technica AT-LP120s. We're replacing the existing ones. We like these turntables because we've used them for years. This is the upgraded model. We've got some real good use out of them. We don't use turntables for play. We really use them. They get a lot of work, and they're a workhorse for our system. We love vinyl, and we love playing it. So, without any further ado, I'm going to crack one of these open. The plan is to take the old ones out, put the new ones in, set them up, make sure they work, do a sound check, and that's what we're going to do. So, join in. Once again, we have the existing tables. We've used these for quite some time. Pretty beat up. We don't mind that. We're gonna work on these other ones. I'm gonna change a couple of camera views here so you can see some of the work we're doing. We're gonna leave these existing ones in place temporarily until we open one at a time. We're gonna swap them out, power them up. All right, I'm gonna crack this thing open. Wondering why we use Audio Technica instead of the other more expensive brand.
Mickey Libra. Shout out to Mickey Libra. Thanks for joining the party.
Brand works as well.
Moving live with music.
Get a lot of use out of these things.
Welcome to the party.
Quite satisfied with them.
Let's go.
Over the years, we have played on the more expensive brands. These are not the cheapest ones on the market, but for the price point, they do a real good job. We're satisfied with these, so we continue to use them. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's our motto today. Change a couple of views here so you can see some of the work we're doing. Eye on the screen, see if anybody joins in so we can say hello. We're gonna go ahead with our unbox here. Nice little slip mat. I'm not gonna open it because we're satisfied with our current ones. We'll save the other slip mats for when the current ones run out. Try not to destroy the packaging too much. No need to destroy it. We want to take it easy with these turntables here. We don't want to mess with the magnets and all. Very simple device. Direct drive. S-arm. Got them in black. I wanted a different model. They were out of stock, so take what we can get. If you've never had a turntable before, you want to check these out. The settings are pretty delicate. When you set your weight for your cartridge and your needle, you want to make sure to be very accurate with that. You want to keep it balanced. You want your plate to spin smoothly. My plate, we need this. Welcome in, Miss Rena. Welcome in, D. We're doing an unboxing and install for new turntables. Got a lot of stuff going on over here. We're going to get it all organized shortly. You guys go ahead and fire up the room. Thanks for joining. So we are going to install our plate. We'll use our instructions, but pretty much know where we're at. It's a lot that we don't need to use the instructions for. When you install a plate, you want it to roll smoothly. It has to glide. The direct drive magnet inside will spin it. These plates come with the little buttons on it. There's a light on here that tells you the speed. If you're on a 45, 78, or 33 and a third. It's a very simple item. It's our workhorse. Down in here is the nitty gritty. Got our components in there. We don't need to get to the motor for any reason. We don't do repairs, we just replace. Right. Somebody asked how long do they last? These things will last as long as you want them to last if you're not using them every day. We use our turntables quite often. Some turntables on the market have lasted people 30 and 40 years. Those are some of the higher end brands. We'll get a good 10, 15 years out of these. We'll be happy with that. Change the camera here. Give you a different look. Alright. Got a bunch of plugs and wires that come with it. You can see that inside here. You got the head for the cartridge.
Give a shout out to Brent the Boom.
Here,
Brent the Boom's in the room.
hold the dust cover on.
Joining the party.
We've got the weight for the tone arm. And this little device, we're going to open this up and see exactly what this is for. RCA plug of some kind. I think it converts USB. That's new. Haven't seen that before. I have to get our instructions out and figure out what this is for. Got a little little sensor there. The RCA plug. Put that over there and figure out what it's for later. I'm not very used to that. is the weight for the tone arm. You can see that. So this is going to go on the end of the tone arm itself, and what it does, it allows the tone arm to sit just right on the vinyl. And there are numbers on here that allow you to adjust the tension and the weight of the tone arm with these numbers. We're going to set them up according to the manufacturer's recommendations. For now, we're just going to install the weight, and then we will adjust it once we get everything else installed. Take this stuff off of here now that the weight is on it. The tone arm locks in place with that weight without the actual head on it, the cartridge. That weight itself will make the tone arm pop up like that. You can see that. So we'll lock that down until we're ready to put the cartridge on it. The other devices on here, we've got the brackets here that hold the dust cover in place. We'll go ahead and attach these. Just sit right in that slot. Very simple. That allows us to have our dust cover. Put that on. Closed, keep it nice and clean. You want to always have it covered when not in use. This cartridge here has the needle attached already. Not a bad idea. The needle here, you don't know what this does. This is the part that actually touches the record. These cartridges are universal. They could be used on other model turntables, other brands. Cartridges that we use. There goes the box. Good thing is empty. So our cartridge, very different than the one that comes with it, but the connections are the same. Put these away until we're ready to actually check out the sound. You'll probably be around long enough to see why we have unique cartridges for what we do, because the ones that come with it are not the loudest in the world. I'm gonna set this over here out of the way. It's not a master class and all, it's just a simple unbox and an install. Box is empty. What we're looking for now are the power cord. Power cord is different than the cord from the previous model. That was fancy. Expect it to stick to that. Just flip this over a little bit. Ground back there. Power cable goes in here. Put the adapter, which standard RCA cables. So what we're going to do, get rid of this box first of all. Gave us a USB cable and RCA cables with a ground. So, since they gave us cables with a ground, we're going to use the cables that they gave us. The other cables on the previous model do not have a ground. The new one does. So we are going to ground turntable into the actual mixer. We do not use the USB because we are running analog, and we are running through an analog mixer where we do not need the digital format. This little device here is just to allow us to use our tiny records, the 45s. So this will go in there and it'll allow us to use 45s. We're not gonna use this one because the ones on the previous model are more fancy than this. So we're gonna use the fancy ones on the previous model. Okay, okay. So what we're ready to do now, we're going to do this deck first. We're going to start on our left hand, where we are going to remove the existing turntable and disconnect it. We're going to connect and power up the new one. Got a bunch of stuff underneath here. Done this before. You've got wires everywhere, trust me. If you don't have wires everywhere, you're not doing it right. So says me. Alright, let's move this box out of the way. We're probably gonna put the existing turntable inside this box, but let's move it out of our way first. Get everything that we need to use out of it. Again, our slip mat, we're going to use our existing one, so we're going to put this aside. So when the original slip mat goes out, we'll be able to replace it. Empty box.
One more time, shout out to Cookie from Houston. Cookie from Houston.
Let's uninstall our first turntable.
In the room. Go ahead, get up and dance. Dance like nobody's watching.
Straightforward, just like the other one. We have the original cartridge and needle that came with this one that we've never used. I'm gonna leave that in place. Once again, we like our little adapter here for our 45s. This one's fancier than the other one, so we're going to use this instead of this plastic one. We're going to use a nice heavier silver. All right, our uninstall. Power cord.
Let's give a special hello to him. Let's give a special
RCA.
I see you in the room, Kim, all the way
hardwired
sweet black Kim.
into
Thanks for joining us.
the older system, whereas the new system, the cord is removable. Don't know which one I like best, but the new system has a ground where the old one does not. So we'll disconnect it from the mixer. And since it's hardwired, this cord will now hang and it's uninstalled. Find out where this cord goes and uninstall it. Gets a little hectic here because our deck is so compact. It's hard to get these cords in and out, but we'll get it done anyway. Shove that. Get some leverage on that. Be right back.
I see Cammy's in the room. DJ Tone, thanks for joining us, brother. DJ Tone's in the room. Wednesday Hump Day House Sessions live from the bungalow. Right here on Just House Music. You're grooving with music from Music Happy Productions.
Well, lucky for us, we cannot find our hammer. That's crazy. You gotta remember where you put stuff, people, and you gotta find it again. So we'll find something else to use to pry this thing up with. I think we will go ahead and use our hip tool. All I need to do is pry this up a little bit so I can free this cord without dumping everything on the ground here. Stay voila. Okay. Now we're ready to put the power cable in first before we put the turntable up. Because with the power cable, we have to go underneath, plug it in, and fish it through the back of our little table here. So let's do that. Still haven't figured out why they changed it from a regular AC cord to this power cable. Must be an improvement of some kind. Very nice. We've got maybe 4 feet to work with here. It's important to know. All right, we're going down. Plug this in. And unplug the other one at the same time. Plan that. went in. It's going to be easier to get in there because it's a smaller plug. We don't have to pry it up too much. Oh. Let's hope. Yes, we do that a little bit. Say voila. Okay, got that little piece on there. Let's see, get that clear. That's done. Let's see how far we can bring it up. Keep this thing plugged in. Get rid of this door. So before we plug up our power, we're going to go ahead and plug up our audio cords. So again, we're not using USB, we're using an analog connection. Switch the camera again.
Just House Music in justhousemusic.co.uk.
So, have our RCA, our standard white and red, and then there's a ground. Helps keep the feedback down, noise control. So on the back of our mixer, we've got two posts. That screw. And we take this ground and run it straight onto the post. Now we have, I'm probably tilt this up a little bit. So I can see what I'm doing. Why don't we leave that in place and grab our flashlight? How about that? What we're looking for are our inputs for our turntable. Phono. Phono is your analog input. Okay, so this is now connected to the mixer. It is grounded to the mixer, and since we are going to use a ground where we weren't using it before, later we're going to ground the mixer to the ground, but we're not going to do that today. So we have two plugs, our power and our audio. I'm going to run that to the new turntable. What we have here, these foam cushions keep the vibration down from the booth speakers specifically. As you're playing, you're getting all that vibration, you get feedback on your sound. So we use these cushions. We're going to use the ones that we use for the other turntable. There's no reason to get new cushions. These are in great shape. Try to line up the feet of the turntable on the cushions so that it's nice and level. Again, these cushions are to help keep vibrations down, specifically from the speakers. Hide the wires as best we can, but wires are wires. Wires do what wires do. Now we're going to tilt this up so we can access our audio cables and our ground. What you want to do with the ground is a screw right there, just like it is over on the mixer itself. Put the connector underneath the screw and then screw it down till it makes contact, and you go white to white, red to red. There's one more button back here. There's a switch here that says line and phono. You want it on phono because we're using phono here and we're going into phono here. That's an analog connection versus the digital connection with the USB. So we're not running it into a line. If you were using this individually with your home audio system, you would use the line connector and not the phono. But because of how we're using it, we use it in phono to get the best sound. So once again, we try to hide the wires as best we can, but to tell you the truth, you'll never fully hide them. You can tuck them all you want, they're gonna be there. Wires are wires. They love hanging around. For all intent purposes, that's installed. We're going to continue to set this one up by connecting the needle So first we obviously turn it on to make sure we have power, and we do. Some of the functions, we can see that the turntable is actually turning. That's a great sign. We put our slip mat on to make sure we have functionality, which we do. I believe we just found out what that little device was. It's the light. Look at that. I didn't even need to use the instruction manual. That's our light. Turn it off. I think I have to plug it and unplug it every time I want to use it. I don't know if I like that. That's gonna wear out. good thing for me, I don't use the light that much. But I'm gonna read the instructions and see how to get that to turn off when I don't want to use it. It's pretty cool when you can actually turn it. But it looks like it's gonna stay on the whole time. We'll tackle that later. What we want to do is put the cartridge on and set the weight so that we have good connection to the actual record itself. All right. Let's grab a tune. We're just gonna put this on for now. Yeah, that's the one. So we're going to start with the actual cartridge and needle that came with the turntable. This way you'll be able to hear if there's a difference in the sound quality from our more expensive cartridge. So we will let's see if I can get this camera on here. So our needle, cartridge, is going to plug into the tone arm. And there's a little lock mechanism on there that locks it in place. Alright, so when I start checking the weight balance, even with the cartridge on it, the tone arm is sticking up because of the weight. That means that our weight is too far back. What we want to do is bring the weight on the tone arm forward so that it rests the needle onto the record. Because right now the weight's too far back and the tone arm is not resting. We want the tone arm to rest on the record. So we turn it until it doesn't tip that needle up. Now, the other setting for the weight will be once I start playing it and I start doing things that we do, like spinning the record backwards, cueing it, holding it in place. We don't want the tone arm to skip and jump. So that's when you really fine tune the weight, once you get the needle onto the record itself and see if it's gonna skip and jump while you're touching it. When you touch the record, you don't want the needle to skip. So that's when you adjust your weight. You can adjust the drag. You can adjust other functions on the tone arm itself once you get the needle onto the record. So let's do that. I'm gonna turn this music off so that we can actually hear what the record is doing. Okay, turn that down. I hope you guys can still hear me. I think you can. All right, let's play a record. See what it sounds like. Well, it works. Let's see if we can get this thing set. We're gonna set the needle.
We were at a party. Dear Lord fell in the game.
So far this is good. We have good sound. It's not skipping as it's playing normally. So the weight's good. So far the weight distribution is good. So now we're gonna fine tune the weight distribution and the skip by manipulating the actual record itself and spinning back. We wanna bang on it. We wanna do some things with it. So let's do that. Not sure if you guys heard that, but as I drew it back a couple of times, it skipped. When I drew it back, it's supposed to start at the exact same point if I do a half spin, but the needle skipped when I drew it back. So we're gonna adjust our weight and we're gonna adjust the skip. We're gonna start with the skip. The knob on here, we're just gonna gradually turn it. Now let's do that again. Much better. Just adjusting the skip solved that issue without even adjusting the weight. So the weight is at a good point. What I'm gonna do is mark that because there's numbers on the weight itself that we get to mark where the weight is. There's a little line on the tone arm and I get to line it up and say this is a good space for the weight. Then we're gonna make sure that we have the skip set and we're gonna duplicate that setting on the other turntable once we get that hooked up. The second thing we're gonna do, we're gonna actually check the volume of the cartridge. Now, the cartridge that comes with it is what's playing. We have our aftermarket cartridges, and we're gonna see if this cartridge sounds stronger, better, louder than the one that came with it. If the cartridge and needle that comes with it sounds good, we'll just leave these aside. So let's do that. So first we'll set the weight. What we did is lifted the tone arm with the device. There's a little lifter on here. And I want to make sure my weight is set. So I'm going to look at the number here. It looks like 4.5. Better use the light. It's 0.5. Okay, 0.5, and our skip is at 1. So we're going to remember those settings when we put the other turntable up. We're going to remember the settings of this weight and the skip because it seems to be okay. Now let's take a listen to our aftermarket cartridge. We're not going to adjust the volume. We're not going to adjust anything. We're just gonna simply put on a different cartridge. And what we're listening for is, does the record sound different, better, worse with the other cartridge? I can tell you right now, it's louder, much louder. I haven't touched any volume, and if you can't hear it from what that cartridge did, I'm gonna actually put it back on. I'm gonna let this one play for like 3 seconds. It's much louder, it's much stronger. It's picking up the sound, it's picking up background noises. This cartridge that comes with it is a lot softer. It's not as loud. I'm not adjusting the volume. I'm simply changing out the cartridge. So this is the aftermarket cartridge that's playing. I can look at the lights on the mixer and see that it's louder. Plus I can hear it through the speaker. You put the stock one back on first. Then we're gonna switch it out and you'll hear the difference. So this is the aftermarket.
The beach.
Now let's go back to the cartridge that comes with it. I'm not going to touch the volume, and we'll see if there's a difference in the sound. Using our fancy little light here to see the beginning of the record.
We were at a party. The dear love fell in the game. Someone reached in and grabbed it. What a rock lobster!
I'll tell you what, it's definitely different. So that's why we have our aftermarket cartridges for what we do. We're doing our shows and playing our vinyl. These are, I'm not going to give the brand, but they're much stronger, much louder. And they pick up a harder beat. With that, you get clarity because you can turn the volume down and still have a loud sound without turning your knobs up. That's why we use those cartridges. So for all intent purposes, we have an install. The only thing I'm going to do different, is I'm going to do ground the mixer to the ground. We're going to get a nail. We're going to pound into the actual ground itself. Since we're underground in the basement, that'll be easy to do. We can just go to the wall. We can run it outside. We can run it into some dirt. We don't have to go into the cement of the floor, but we're gonna ground it into the ground. We're gonna do that maybe tomorrow, but not today. For all intent and purposes, we have our install. We're going to shut this off and work on the second one. We are going to park the stock cartridge for backup, just like we did with the other ones. So we're just going to leave this to be available to us when we need it, only in the case of an emergency if our aftermarket cartridges are damaged or broken. So there's a little space here, a little hole there that actually holds these things in place. I think that's very cool. With that being said, that's our install. We've unboxed and installed. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to do this other one without you. See you soon.